travelers. I am Dez of the Revis Order, and I'm joining Chibi and Vertek at the Golden Feather. Come on in, grab a seat, and let's share tales of adventure.
Hello, and welcome to the Golden Feather Tavern, where your hosts, Chibi and Vertek, discuss Ashes of Creation and important topics spoken about within the Ashes community. Every week we invite you, the viewer, and a special guest to pull up a chair, grab a pint, and join the conversation with us. Today is the 3rd of May, 2025, and we are on episode 236, New Beginnings. And the traveling bard joining us today is Dezzrevas. How are you today, friend?
I'm doing fantastic. It is a great day.
That's what I love to hear. That's what I love to hear. And Chibi, how are you today, and what do we have on tap?
I'm doing pretty good today. I've got my water that I'm drinking, but also my elixir of energy. And today we are going to be discussing the recent adjustments to Ashes of Creation's Alpha 2, Phase 2, and Phase 3 upcoming, and more specifically, the live stream that they just had on April 30th. And we do all that while grabbing you guys in our live chat, and also we definitely go back and rewatch or reread some of your comments afterwards. But we grab your thoughts and opinions from everybody while we're live, as well as our guest here, and we like to share our thoughts and things from what we have going on. So if you like that kind of content, consider subscribing, giving us a like, and following our adventures as we go. But the most important conversation is, or topic I should say, is who Dezzrevas is. And I figured we've had you on here a few times, so I must ask, since you're a regular at the tavern, what is your go-to drink now? What would your favorite tavern drink be?
Well, I generally have my water here, but I do have elixirs of energy as well at the moment. Yeah, that's what I got right now.
Okay, fair. Water is important, especially with how long that travel time is in Verra.
Very much so. Especially since we're living in the desert at the moment.
Ooh,
Just saying, if you don't bring 3 days worth of supplies when you go to travel, there's something wrong.
Right. Right.
All right. Well, let's see. What has the Revis Order been up to lately? And can you share a little bit about maybe some of the thoughts and opinions from the roleplay community?
Well, we've been doing a lot of crafting, deep dives. We have a couple people that are going crazy into the new quest updates, which has been a lot of fun. Aside from that, first day of the new server in Shol, we had a little encounter with some other guilds over in the desert. They wanted to try and push us out, and some people may have gotten pushed out themselves where they were trying to fight. So, you know,
Did the bullies get bullied?
The bullies got bullied and
that's
pushed
what I
out
like to hear.
themselves.
That's what I like to hear.
That's awesome. And any plans from the roleplay community?
Roleplay community, we're still kind of looking at the testing phases as kind of like your Sanctus RP stuff. Although some people are jumping out of that and going into like this is their first roll into the world, and eventually before launch going back into Sanctus for whatever reason that'll be. But so it's really the biggest parts. A lot of people doing stories on the side, seeing out of the game. We did have a couple of attempted RP events that they got interrupted with entire node war decks last phase, or last part of the phase anyway. Twice. That was not fun, but you know. We had fun fighting those people, but still interrupted the RP Elven Dwarven War.
If it makes you feel any better, yeah, we got our guild got war decked in the middle of a node siege.
Multiple war decks.
Yeah, multiple war decks. It was great. It was great.
Fun times.
Yeah, those violent people interrupting the RP war.
We found out it was intentional too, so that was extra fun.
Oh, yeah.
So, how has, or how will, or how do you predict it will expand or impact any RP stories with being on one server now?
I think a lot of that is like people are going to be focusing on getting level and getting sharpening their swords and getting their aim up to be able to fight back a lot faster and easier. Once these groups start seeing the RP community actually decimating them, other than just a couple of the guilds of us, I think they'll think twice about it and interrupting more events.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, with testing and stuff like that, it's a lot of fun to have like role play and everything like that. But it kind of becomes one of those things of when are we able to enjoy the stuff that we're trying to enjoy, and when are we supposed to be helping Intrepid test whatever they want to test at the moment, meaning that sometimes the tests that they want us to test are not always the most fun for the playing experience. So I think that that's something that Stephen and Maggie have prefaced a lot for phase 2 and by extension 2.5. That phase 3 is supposed to be more of the player experience phase as we go forward. So curious to see what that looks like. But there was definitely some questions from the community to Stephen about, roleplay capabilities and upcoming plans and things like that. So we'll be getting into that. But I think, Vertex, do you have any other questions?
Oh, I'm sure we could come up with plenty, but I think we've asked most of them of this guy already over time. So I guess
over
at this
time,
point,
yeah.
Yeah, over time, we've asked pretty much all of them. So, hey, if you folks out there watching this have any questions about Dezzrevas, the life thereof, or anything he may be dabbling his fingers in, or the guild for that matter, just go ahead and look up some of the older episodes. Search his name, you'll find him.
Feel free to ask as well, and if we're live while you're asking, we can ask him that question live too.
Especially if they're embarrassing, by all means. I mean,
oh my goodness.
No, but I guess before we move on, did you have anything you wanted to toss out there and plug as far as any upcoming events or recruitment drives, etc., etc.?
Well, the Rebus Order is always recruiting. Of course, you must be an elf. We are the only all-elven guild in North America. If you're looking to be focusing into crafting, we have a spot for you. We have people who want to get into the middle of fights and go show their battle prowess. We have a place for you there. If you want to get into logistics and caravans and just getting to know people in the community, we have a place there as well.
So the creepy janitor wants to know about your interesting guild recruitment message and how you came up with it.
Oh man. Hours and hours of making like tens of different messages and tweaking them. Basically.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just I try to keep things a little thematic sometimes, a little fun. Sometimes they're a little dry, but they get the job done sometimes.
There you go.
Very fair. Hand message.
Hand messages. Yes. By hand.
By hand.
Sometimes they are enhanced with the chat GTP. But most of them are not.
Sometimes you need a little assistance, okay? I can't claim to be super great at role play stuff all the time. Sometimes I'm like, ChatGPT, this is what I'm going for. Help me, words.
So do you think 2024 and 2025 might be the first years where you can start claiming that a machine is the world's most renowned scribe?
Oh,
Ooh.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know.
I mean,
about
somebody
that.
had to have taught the scribe, right? So
I feel like millions of people everywhere taught the scribe.
fair.
It's true.
We
Many teachers.
collectively, we are the great scribes.
How many collective years has ChatGPT gone to school? Let us count the ways.
I'm terrified to know that answer. But also, ChatGPT did not take a break, unlike humans.
It's very industrious.
Gotta factor that in.
Industrious.
But anyway, we just had our live stream from Ashes of Creation's Intrepid Studios, and we have had a lot of insightful updates and or questions that kind of added more insight to what to expect. Some of the most notable that I would like to highlight, just in case you haven't already seen the live stream, is that they are currently working through the Gendark areas and finishing off the Tranquil Sea. And while we don't have it in yet, they're working on the new Dunzenkel mountain area, which will be all but 2 areas within the Vandagar continent that are completed. That being said, the reason why they wanted to push off phase 3 is to give them a little bit more time to deal with the dynamic gridding and stuff like that, which we'll get into more. But they're also dealing with changing to 5.5 from 5.3. We found out during the live stream that they've skipped 5.4 entirely. And according to Zach, this is the worst upgrade so far, since he wasn't part of 4.7 to 5 at all. But of the 5 iterations, this is the worst. And there's a lot of other things. We'll get into them. But Des, since you are our guest, is there any part in particular? Oh, wait. Oh, okay. John says, hey, Des, that's what you have pops for recruiting.
Oh.
Over on YouTube. But do you have anything that kind of calls out to you from the live stream that you want to touch on first? Anything that excites you?
I've always been really excited about looking at the Gendark itself, like actually going out and seeing the stuff in there.
Yeah.
Getting to see that right before the server went down was fantastic.
Yeah.
I want to see how those nodes are placed. I have ideas on where things will be. I don't know.
Yeah. Those are always fun. So we actually, with the live part of the Gendark, we were given a wonderful display. Part that we partly got to see when Steven wasn't off wandering the Gendark himself. But we had Mr. Tross, the director of design, Jeremy, which is the world designer, the leader of the world team, Jocelyn, which is their senior producer, Planin, which is one of our favorite devs. Obviously, Maggie is Luperza, and Zach, which is their technical director, who is also in charge of not only dynamic gridding, but also the 5.5 update. And they gave us some interesting lore on this one. They said that it's primarily taken over by the Nagash. And the first area, though, they took us to was the Kraken's Belly, which is a little like cave system dug out by the pirates within that region to kind of hide some of the what do you call it, booty that they've pillaged from ships and things like that. And we had some really interesting mobs that we saw. There was Brinebeard in there, Shanty, Sean, and we heard them talking about Barnacle Branton. What are your thoughts on that area?
I think it's a really awesome area. Like I'm thinking about like the kind of battle scenarios that are going to happen around in that area. What kind of like just the topography of everything that they've created in the world. There's always these little nooks that are just perfect. Even great for scenes for doing RP stuff.
Yeah, some really beautiful areas. I'm curious what the final product is going to look like in that purple geode area.
Oh yeah.
After
Oh,
they
yeah.
had those
Yes.
apparent missives that are missing. Missives,
Absolutely.
rather.
Missives. Missing
The
missives.
missives. Yeah, missing missives.
Yeah. The purple area, I think it's called the Hollow Oracle. Couldn't understand exactly what they said, but the minimap did, however, call that area the Hekraba. So I'm wondering if that's gonna be one of the node names, Hekraba. But the lore behind the purple crystals are that it's a shaman or oracle cave, and that the geode magnifies their divine abilities. I thought that was really interesting. I was like, okay. And then, of course, notably, there was the basilisks there, which could paralyze you for 30 seconds. And chat did not like that until they realized that it was supposed to be cleansed off by a clearic, which they're like,
But
okay,
still,
well, I guess
though.
that makes a little bit more sense, but still.
But still, though, I mean, a 30-second basically like incapacitate that can't be interrupted with damage or being knocked down or anything. It just exists. It's a little rough.
Maybe you shouldn't go solo unless you have a cleric there.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe you need a cleric. I mean, I'm not biased at all. Not at all. Being
Who
a
needs
cleric
clerics?
myself.
That's what we got bards for.
Sorry, I'm making a joke right now. Metacross says, sounds like a great place for a cleric to get drunk. I was like, Chibi might possibly be going there to see if she can get some mana crystals. I'm the guilty cleric here too. Yeah, exactly.
Sorry,
I'm
we
just
love
saying
you,
it'd be
clerics.
really
I
cool.
just.
I'm just saying it'd be really cool if you could get like the purple crystals and then turn those into like a mana pot or like some sort of divine power boost. So like if divine power has a specific ability or like strength against a certain type of mob, maybe taking that type of potion could increase your divine power or like temporarily give you some divine power.
Oh. Or
I don't know if
maybe
it would go that far, but I just thought that'd be kind of fun.
Maybe the geodes you find there are how you're going to power up your weapons when you put them in the slot on the weapon.
Ooh,
The
that'd be
real
cool.
power are the
Yeah.
geodes you find along the way.
Oh, man.
Wow. That actually gives me a great idea. If I ever did a one-shot out in the Jundark area, I think I might actually do that. That would be fun. Perhaps it starts with a little hook of finding a satchel of purple crystals.
There you go.
But some other notable things is that, as a lot of people saw on the Reddit and forums, people were posting pictures of the way that the Jundark currently looks, and a lot of people say, yeah, it looks kind of a lot like the Tranquil Sea, but fear not. In fact, I'm pretty sure the environment team was a little worried about it being on stream. They will be adding a lot more foliage, and the intent is to have it so dense that it is actually kind of dark. Hence Jundark. And they mentioned something about having large canopy trees and vines and things like that. And I can't wait. Honestly, that's what I was expecting. That's what I was hoping for, is like a really nice dense foliage type of like foresty
wild
area.
rainforest.
Yeah.
Man, if they could make that feel like Kashyyyk in Star Wars, it'd be fucking amazing.
Ooh. Yeah. I also I have an affinity towards the kind of forested area within the new Monster Hunter Wilds, where you have these giant vines and fallen over trees and just very foresty and tropical. So it could be the tropical forest like Vertec mentioned, but then you have the American foresty forest where it's just a lot of trees and a lot of foliage and things like that. Very curious to see how they build out the different regions, because looking at the map, since this is most of the one continent that I think you decided we're about a third of the way through the content at this point in terms of zones go.
Yeah, if we were to get all of that added in with the anvils and the little connecting land piece between the anvils and Riverlands, yeah, looks like it'd be around a third, because there's still all the other small continents and the underground passageways between and the top of water passageways between the continents, like the two main continents, right?
Yeah. Yep. And no, they did not mention anything about the underworld yet, but let me go back. let me grab this from the wiki real quick. So we know that they are working currently on I think there's like four main continents. We've got the Vandagar, which is what we're working on currently, with the Dunes and Kelp Mountains coming in end of July, beginning of August, somewhere in there. Then there's like this little island up north that looks like very maybe snowy, called Sajuma. And then the whole entire eastern continent is Illyrium, so we're still waiting for all of that. And then from there, there's like a little southern eastern continent called Pelagora. So Vandagar is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 5, 6, 7ths of the way done, almost, or like technically 2, 3, 4, 4/7 ready now, 5/7 by August, maybe more. So I'm really excited to see what that looks like. And they did mention that this move over to 5.5 will help with speeding up the development process even more, which I kind of had an idea. Plus, also a lot of optimizations.
Yeah, that's the fun thing, is every time they talk about, you know, a new Unreal Engine version or a new tool they make, it's always like things are going to be speeding up because we now have this thing that gives us ultimate power in this area.
Yeah.
So it's just I don't know. It's really cool just to know that every time they get a new update, it's going to set them back a little bit in time, but then it's going to vastly accelerate, as well as adding additional like quality tools at the same time.
Yeah. And I think they even mentioned, I think this was the topic they were mentioning, maybe having for next month, for June. But yeah, so basically Zach had said they had said that they're skipping 5.4 going straight to 5.5. This is a big intensive upgrade. They may be talking about this in June. So hopefully we'll be able to see kind of like how this affects tools, what tools they're able to go with this. Because again, whenever you have these big changes, and he kind of hints on this a little later, he talks about how like it breaks a lot of things, like Verra wouldn't even load when they were putting this on the very lower environment to start beginning testing for that. Vertec put here that Verra didn't load at all. The map wouldn't load, networking stack didn't load. And then, you know, they mentioned that they had to pull from some of these other teams to help fix some of these issues so that they can get it to work and start working on it properly. Typically what that means is there's like variables that get changed, or like how these variables are used get changed. Some stuff, like if you wanted something to scroll up and down, that specific function that you call sometimes gets changed, so you just have to adjust that so it would work again. It's a lot with the development process, but this is game development. It's a lot of coding and a lot of effort and headache and adjustment, but I think I want to highlight actually on this, Vertec, I sent you an image that Steven had put in, because I also got to test the day 1 of Shol, and it was interesting. It was a lot of hours of getting error 33 and error 53, and then getting out and then getting back in, and then realizing that everybody and their mom wanted to go to Briarmore Farm, so I just made a new character and I went somewhere else completely. But Steven ended up putting towards the end of the evening, glorious testers, welcome. Today we hit a big milestone, the highest number of concurrent players on a single realm since in UE5. Very nice work. Lots of improvement coming in our update tomorrow morning. Again, this is I think Thursday, so this is like night of, including the silent crashing issue. We have identified an engine bug with the rendering thread and deployed the fix. I think they have since deployed this fix. It is cooking now, along with some hitch fixes and spawner fixes as well. Keep up the good testing. And I thought that was very sweet. So that was really cool. We hit a milestone, had the most concurrent players on one server. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm getting that. For those who haven't seen it, I'm getting the screenshot up on screen in a moment. Okay.
I have not seen a number get posted anywhere, although I'm sure if anybody knows, it'd be Ludaloo. Ludaloo's everywhere. Basil, snow on my branch source? No. It was at least more than 10, I think, right? I don't know. Yeah, see. I've seen you all over like the Reddit. You literally have like top 1% commenter next to your name. And I'm like, oh, there's Lulu. But yeah, so there's a lot of really cool adjustments, but you know what I'm looking forward to seeing?
Was that from Thursday or Friday?
That must have been from Thursday because that was when that's May 1st.
Okay, gotcha.
So Thursday. I'm looking forward to seeing more events and stuff like that pop up because I know that they talked about that coming after phase 3 begins. Kind of going back through and doing another rebrush over the desert and the sand, Sand Squall Desert, the Turquoise Sea, and the Jundark. But there's also like, notably, there's a lack of events within like New Ayla and Jova and some of these places that aren't specifically like Mirleth and Winstead. How are you feeling with that? Because that's kind of how like we feel when we're playing, is that there's like a heavier focus of events and things to do by those areas. But when you go further out, like New Ayla or Halcyon, there's not nearly as much events happening there.
I want way more events to happen everywhere. I want to see stuff. I want to see stuff in the tropics.
Yeah.
Really. I want to see an event for tropics. You need to get a bunch of boats together, and you need like at least 10 boats together, and you go raid something.
Yeah.
But really, we need events in more places because like it's really congested in the Riverlands. And that's really the only place you can go to do much. Yeah.
I mean, when I first got into Shol, I immediately beelined it out of Samia's Hope. Like I got my beginning quest out of the way, which it was doing pretty well. I think it froze and then crashed often there, but as soon as I got away from the main group, it was really nice. I immediately booked it to the desert, and I saw some level 10 mobs, but I was like level 2, so I didn't really do anything with that. But I was skirting around just trying to see if there was any events there, anything going on. I didn't really see much there at all. And my consideration was maybe the events are happening more so when a node hits level 1, maybe, because that kind of draws more people to them. But I would like to see some more precursor events to kind of draw people to those areas.
Mm-hmm.
But as Sophia says, the Tropics had a couple events, which is nice. And that's ultimately where I went. I ended up going with a group of our guildies over to the Tropics. And we had like 100 crabs that you had to murder as an event. And that was interesting. It only gave like 9k XP though. So imagine 9,000 XP for defeating 100 crabs.
How much XP is the crabs? I don't even know.
So as a level 5 or 6, attacking a level 13, 14, 1-star, 2-star, I was getting like 1,200 each.
Okay.
So only 9 of them would have given me the same amount of XP as the event did. But maybe that was
bananas.
The point. Yeah, because as soon as the event was over, a lot of those crabs disappeared. But maybe that was the point, was like that event spawns a lot of extra crabs for you to fight.
Yeah.
That
So
makes
just
sense,
the slaying of the crabs themselves is a part of the bonus from the event.
Yeah. And Dark Kindred, thank you so much for the follow. I know you followed like 20 minutes ago, but I'm seeing it now.
Oh my goodness.
Let's see. They didn't really do too much from the Turquoise Sea. They did do the setting anchor event, but they were kind of just chit-chatting about the dynamic gridding and stuff like that, which the dynamic gridding is currently in internal testing phase, and its goal is to be put into PTR next. Vertec, is there any other things besides the Jundark that you want to talk about that you were interested in from what was mentioned in the live stream?
Well, from the live stream, there's a few things, but if you don't mind aside tangenting away from that just for a quick minute.
What's up?
Well, first off, anybody who missed it, the Steven's specific statement is up on the screen now. But Dez, since you said you and the guild and the peoples, all the folks and stuff have been doing deep dives into crafting, what exactly is the 3331 or 3211 like
That was really confusing for
ratio
us.
thing? What's that all about? Because Steven's explanation on it on the Reddit post was not exactly clarifying in any way. It just added other math that I don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah, and Steven, if you're listening, we would love any more clarification that you might have.
That would probably have to come from my crafty people who are maybe in the chat right now. I don't know. I'm actually kind of lost on it too myself.
Yeah, it was in the chat, Lulu. Sorry.
Yeah,
No,
it's, usually when it comes across like that, it's also an announcement that pops up on the screen.
Yeah.
It says 8675309. What does that mean?
Yeah. So, for example, I don't know if your crafting people told you this, but when we got in, we realized that what used to take 1 flax to make 1 string took 3 flax to make 1 string, and it effectively seemed like everything tripled in terms of the materials needed to craft items. And I didn't really know what the extent of this meant. And Steven had made an offhanded comment within the Discord saying that on accident it was 333-1 when it should be 321-1, like 3-2-1-1. But I don't know what that means. Like,
I just know that somebody crunched the numbers looking at the recipes on Friday, and what was it, Thursday? I forget. Time has bled into. It was one day where I had to work, and then I got on afterwards. Probably Thursday. Either way, they crunched the numbers looking at the recipes live, and it was going to cost something like 480 logs to make one of the weapons that you would get from. I'm drawing a blank on his name. The big Cyclops.
Tumak.
Yeah. So yeah, to make one of the weapons from him, it was going to cost like 400 and some odd logs. To make one piece of paper, it was 3 logs, which sounds kind of weird. But also, on top of that, to create a tier 0 piece of armor, it was going to take, I think it was like 3 or 5 cotton, which, by the way, is produced with poop and cotton seeds, which you need farming apprentice in order to do. So you need an apprentice level crafter or a processor
Tier 2.
Make a tier 0 piece of armor, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
So my experience is what was the guild scrolls was 90 rubies a couple days ago, and now it's 10. Now it's 10.
Okay.
They fixed that. But 90 common rubies. Has to be common.
Yep. Can't be anything higher.
Well, at least there's some reason to save the common rubies, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, at least they brought it back down to 10 because Lulu was saying it. Well, actually, Hair Curls originally said it took 3 of each resource to craft each resource. It since has been adjusted, and Lulu confirmed this, saying it took me 1-to-1 to make linen threads, so 15 flax for 15 threads. And then he was able to make himself a cape just an hour ago. So that's good to know that has been since adjusted. I did download the patch. I've yet to get on and look at the adjustments, but I was just curious to see, and Steven, if you're listening, or somebody from Intrepid, if you can give us some clarification on what Steven means for the 3-2-1-2-1 means.
Yeah. What is that ratio exactly?
What is that referring to exactly? Yeah. But they did adjust get rid of the static rarity, kind of on that that note. Static rarity will be removed starting May 1st, which has already been done. This is a temporary solution till the full system is online, likely for May 8th, as we saw in the previous outline for the artisan ship updates with the gathering. So very curious to see what that is going to be like. That's going to be my main focus for 2.5. I think a lot of us are taking it easy for 2.5, especially if they're going to possibly be in 3 months wiping it all again.
Right.
I feel like I'd be in a better state in 3 months from now to take off some time and focus a little harder on like phase 3, but we'll see.
Yeah, time will tell.
Here's the big thing. we had, I don't even know how many people, but enough that we definitely outdid the maximum concurrent players. How did it feel on day one? Because I know Vertec, you got a chance to test as I was getting off of the game. How did it feel on day one to be able to get in, create your character, and move around? Did it feel as bad for you as you thought it was going to feel? Did it feel better than you thought?
Yeah, if you're I guess first there, if you got something there, Des.
Yeah. So I got in pretty late, so it wasn't actually bad. I got right into the game. I was able to make my character. I didn't even have rubber banding issues, of all things. Of course, I gotta go to the Smia's Hope, so I don't have as much things to go after.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got to level 2 before I had to go. It felt not bad. Like it was good.
Yeah, I know that I popped on pretty late as well. It was maybe like 10:30 p.m. Eastern by the time I was finally off of work and able to log on. It was actually pretty bad. But it was also right around the same time that we saw a post coming out from like Maggie saying that they know what the issue is with the servers and whatnot, and they were going to patch in the morning. So maybe it was just something that they fixed. I didn't have a chance to log on Friday, and I haven't had a chance to log on today. So I don't know how it's been since then, but it was pretty bad when I logged on. It was very, very laggy, very stuttery, much rubber banding, many crashes.
Interesting. It's very different than what I experienced, but to be fair, I literally got out of there as quickly as I possibly could.
Yeah, I was in the starting area, and then I went to Samia's Hope to do the sweat of the brow, and then I went and I grabbed the parcel quest, which for some reason it's a world spawn quest item instead of a player spawn. So like there were no parcels on the road. I was looking for like an hour and a half running around everywhere, and I saw not a single parcel.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, so I grabbed the parcel quest, and I got the heck out of Lionhold and ran over towards the area of the church. Did not the church, actually went to Second Sword Outpost first and got a quest over there. And as I was running towards Jova to finish that quest, it was still kind of continuing. It wasn't as bad with the rubber banding and lag and whatnot, but it would still crash a whole lot. I think if I had to shoot a guess and shoot for a decent like middle of the range of what I would guess, I'd probably say I crashed out maybe 12 times in about 3 hours. 12 to 15 times in about 3 hours, something in there. So I don't know, maybe that's part of what they were fixing.
So
I've had some of those issues today playing, so
yeah. So here's part of my question, because they just said that the like Mr. Noobtastic says there's another fix coming in 6 hours per the in-game announcement, which I did remember previously. Some people from the community were requesting that the devs pretty please also give info in the guild or in the game, because not everybody has like multiple monitors and can navigate or like keep track of two separate places, i.e. in-game and in a Discord at the same time. So when some of the updates or announcements are just in Discord, people that are in the game completely miss them, especially if you're on a laptop maybe. I'm really glad to hear that they're doing more of that in game. But I was gonna ask, when you had those crashing issues, were you in a highly populated area? Because that's when I experienced them the most, is like when I was in Samia's Hope, when I was near Briarmore Farms. But as soon as I got out to the desert, as soon as I got out to the tropics, I stopped experiencing that as much.
I mean, probably, because it was all in Riverlands, and they just dialed 3 servers of people down to 1, and a bunch of people were waiting for a fresh start so they could pop in and not be, destroyed by established people that already have all their stuff. There is also all the new those that have the phase 3 tickets that we're able to get in now, so more people, less servers, so pretty much everywhere is going to end up being heavily populated here very soon.
Yeah. And Mr. Noobtastic, Tropics is somewhat lobby friendly. If you get a good enough group, I think we had about 6 or 7 of us that went out to the Tropics together. If you go out there at level 4 and you pick your way very, very carefully to the coast, specifically going for the southern half of the coast of the Tropics, like down by Seahook area, there's a bunch of level 13 and 14 and 15 crabs, I think 1 star, and those were easy enough for our group to take down together with no gear, like literally just the starting gear. We didn't even go and do the quest that I think Richie put out a video on recently, which is to go to the Second Sword Outpost, do your 2 quests there, get 6 pieces of a coin or like an item that you can then trade at any level 1 node for gear. So we didn't even have that gear. We literally had spawned into Verra, run straight to the Tropics type of gear.
Okay. Yeah, I know my experience was I popped on and I did the starter quest. I went from the starter area to Samia's Hope to Briarmore Farm, got all the Ember Springs all the way along there. I went up to the laboratory up there. I got that Ember Spring, and then I looped all the way out to Second Sword Outpost, got that Ember Spring. Then I went out to Joeva, got that Ember Spring. Went by Hall's Adjudication on the way over to the Church of the Seven Stars. And along that entire way, there was not one mob that I could have camped by myself and gotten it every time it spawned in. Not one. There was not one time where I stopped to do, okay, I have this thing I need to do. And it wasn't like the area was contested. It was like every single individual mob was contested.
Wow.
Yeah. Jeez, that's crazy. We were considering staying within the Riverlands area, but we're like, no, we'll just go out to the desert or like the tropics and try to find something.
Actually, I will say, take that back. There was the one quest over by Second Sword Outpost. After a few minutes, I guess it was maybe a group that was there together. They ran away, and then I was finally able to get the little quest things off the ground.
Gotcha. Okay. Lulu says, how the heck would anyone know to go south of Miraleth in the middle of nowhere to find a random NPC for another quest in Samia's chain? Honestly, and I feel like that's really important. Like that takes us to the conversation about, new player experiences, right? There's actually a new dev discussion that just came out. I'll pop it in there for you guys. And it's the new tester experience, and they want to have feedback on, what is an example of an MMO that has great first time player experience, and how, like, what kind of systems or things could Intrepid do to kind of make it better. And honestly, I've seen a lot of people ask for not necessarily like quest markers exactly, but just like something more to help them figure out which direction they're supposed to go for stuff. Like we like exploring to a point, but at least help us point in the right direction, especially if there's like a random NPC way out in the middle of nowhere that you don't know is there. But I think for the most part, Intrepid does do a pretty good job of that. It's just like some of the ones at the Second Sword Outpost, there's specific outlined circle areas, but we found that you don't have to just be within those circle areas. Some of those things spawn outside of those circle areas as well, specifically for like the skeletons that you have to take back to the pyre. And that was helpful for me to realize, because like a lot of those were surrounded by higher level mobs. Like by myself, I couldn't really take them down, so it was just nice to have options outside of those mobs to also grab that and just go turn it back in really quickly.
Yeah.
And finding random quests has been a godsend, really. Like, the amount of experience, because everything's taken. Like, quests are the only way you're getting experience right now.
And that is something else I've heard, is that they've really adjusted the XP that you get from doing quests, and that it feels like much more worth doing, which I'm really excited. I kind of want to take a fresh character and just go questing if I can, and just see how well that works and how well that feels.
It's not just the experience though. You get little tokens now. You can use it as. I can't find the vendor yet, but I know we're supposed to have a vendor to be able to get gear from it. Yeah,
inside a node, any node that's at least level 1, so it's at least an encampment. There's actually an NPC that's named what was it? Surplus something token whatever that token name is, it says like surplus whatever token merchant is like the NPC's name. So
Yeah, I actually found the NPC in Jova, and he was kind of, I think, over by
storage.
the storage, yeah. And I was able to get some gear off of him, including my book, which was way better than the Sanctus gear. Or not the Sanctus gear, but like the starter gear.
something that I noticed at least is it does seem like they maybe tweak the experience in a way where it gets you out of the starting area quicker. That way the only thing keeping you there is if you're actually a new player and you're experiencing these quests for the first time and you want to take your time to read everything and explore the area and get to know it.
Yeah.
But if you already know the area, you can just GTFO. Like grab a couple quests, do the thing, get your horse, and like kill a few things and be gone.
Yeah. I think that's important though, because like their biggest thing where like we need players to get out of like this area, so more people can get in. And I think that's going to be alleviated with the other starting area being added in towards the end of July-ish. But I think with the anvils, it'd be really nice to have another area to help divide people coming in and make it a little faster. But I'm also really curious on what that's going to feel like. That being
I
said,
can't wait to get the anvils. I know it's a weird thing to say as an elf, but anvils are going to add some extra topography to the landscape.
I mean, everyone has their favorite hunting zone. I'm just saying.
I think tropics, because they have raptors.
I think he was meaning elves hunting dwarves, possibly.
Oh man.
I would never suggest such a thing. I would never suggest such a thing.
Leave it to a Vec to say that.
Yeah, I was like, I Vec hunting dwarves. I don't know. It's your bone to pick with Ugly, not mine.
I'm not jumping on that train.
I was gonna say it opens up more trade. Anvils would be rough because everyone
I only do what the stars tell me. Okay.
Honestly, though, Mr. Noobtastic, I feel like some people might want to stick with the Lionhold because it's all about like where does your guild want to go, right? If your guild is anticipating everyone's going to go to the anvils, they might want to stick to the Lionhold and then go down to the desert, and that's going to be the fastest way to get to the desert for your group, right? So I think though, like being annoyed of Lionhold, probably, but I mean, I'm sure a lot of us are going to be annoyed at a lot of the areas by the time the game comes out because of how much we've been testing it.
That may be true. It may be true.
Yeah, exactly. That whole test game is taking place right now. Yep. Whether need a quest text log or a dialogue repeat function. Yeah, that would be nice. Also, regarding your server announcements, it'd be nice if there was a HUD that you could open for any server announcements, so that way after they make them you could open them back up and you can see like the most recent server announcements that have happened, and not necessarily just while you've been online, but like what happens if Intrepid's like, we're shutting down the server for like an hour in like 30 minutes, and somebody comes on right after that notice is up and they don't have any clue. There's no, let's say in this example, there's no announcement in like Discord yet, and like maybe somebody's not even a Discord person, maybe they don't even realize that Discord's a thing, because again, you can just buy this through the online webpage, right? So having a UI for that would be really nice. I think that's something I'm going to add in as my feedback for a first-time player experience as well. Not necessarily towards like the gameplay side of it, but just the information side of it.
I know there's a lot of games when you log into like whatever the most recent server announcement that happened, it pops up right as you pop in. So you have to see it. You're not gonna miss it.
I would love that. That would be awesome. Because that way it just kind of like on a rolling basis lets people know what's going on. I love that.
I'm curious though, with all the talk about being tired of Lionhold and all this and that, do you think it would end up being beneficial to Intrepid, and thus they might be thinking about down the line, once they start bringing on board the Eastern continent, if they actually start disabling the Western continent?
Oh.
That way they
Ooh.
can literally get as much testing on each continent. Like, otherwise it's going to be so spread out. Like the Eastern continent's going to have far less testing, right?
That hot take, but I actually kind of like that idea because that provides the focus testing that a lot of the live testers are requesting. Oh, yeah, I think you muted.
I personally would love that too. As the elven homeland is in the Eastern continent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Mr. Noobtastic, I just mean like as a temporary thing. Like as they start to bring on the Eastern continent, they'll start to focus test that continent, and then bring it all online after that. But at least to get some more time on each continent individually.
Yeah. I was actually going to respond to that myself before you jumped in and say, obviously, we would want to see how the whole world like feels with everybody spreading out as well, but a fear that kind of came to mind after Vertec mentioned that was, if they offer the Eastern continent and people are used to the Western continent and they want to go there, I don't feel like they're going to get as much of the focus testing on that half of the world as they would if they did limit it, at least initially. And then once they are done limiting it, they'll be like, okay, we're gonna go. Let's go ahead and like roll out the whole thing. All areas are open. Feel free to remake your character. And
yeah.
I think the biggest takeaway I've heard from the community is people getting very attached to their characters and getting frustrated at wipes, and or people getting frustrated when they can't get into testing and calling for wipes. Which, I mean, in this exact type of focus test that we're dealing with at the moment with Shol and everything like that, I'm going to be honest, anybody who got in for an hour before me, I probably could easily overtake their 1 hour sometime while they're sleeping and I'm staying up late playing Ashes. Like, it's going to equal out eventually. It's not that big of a deal. And I think that their call to not wipe it again was very good on their part. I praise them for that. Yeah. It was ridiculous. I actually had to stop looking at the Alpha 2 general chat after a little bit because I was using it to see like, oh, people are starting to get 33s, and then suddenly you see a whole wave of 33 people again. I was like, all right, guys, be ready. There's probably some 33 code errors coming up soon, and that's what I was using it for. But then the constant request for like wiping when it's just been like an hour or like 3 hours, I'm like, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
That's not the point of this test. The point of this test is to figure out why people can't get in at the same time. And that's exactly what we're testing right now. That's what these error codes are. Like, that's the point of this test, not to be on equal footing yet. But yeah, notice how many of the exploit chats or the loudest was loving it while I was at work. Honestly, I was working too. I was just sitting here. I was like, oh, code 33. All right, go back to working.
Yeah. I mean, it's also going to be a big question of come launch. Hopefully they'll be able to avoid any major issues like that. And it'll be really, really, really rare to get someone who's locked out of being able to jump in because of an error.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to freeholds, like there's with all the features that freeholds can have, there's going to be a big contest for those things. And 6 hours could mean the difference between getting the money up for one and getting yourself set up to be able to get one, and then just not having one available because they're all gone.
Yeah, but don't forget there's also going to be the whole questing system that you're going to have to do for that as well.
Oh yeah, but you can't even begin that until you hit max level.
Node reputation, yeah, there's a lot more to it than just
if you can't get max level because everyone else is like covering the areas you're trying to level in, and you just can't get ahead because everything is PvP. Everything is PvP, so they can literally just kick you out of an area.
Yeah.
Competition's gonna be steep.
Gotta sharpen them knives.
Every day they should publicly roll a 1 to 100 in game or a D100, and if they land on 1, they wipe it. That's hilarious.
Oh no.
Oh, Lordy.
I heard that the pirates disbanded because of the wipes. Oh, that's crazy. Crazy rumors. Man, the other thing I want to add, by the way, just in case nobody else knew this, but one thing I wanted to add to the Gen Dark thing. Right now, its max level is set for 30 to deal with the current player cap, but apparently, it's eventually going to be max level at 50. So it's going to be way more dangerous when we get there. Garcimile! Cheers! Wow,
Cheers.
That's almost a year. It's over a year, you goober. Thank you. 13-month streak with a 14-month total. Thank you so much. We appreciate the support, honestly. There's a lot of things that Vertec and I are working on doing, and while it's been kind of slow burning, it's one of those that I think as soon as we finish getting things like all put in a row, it'll ramp up really nicely and you'll be able to see the outcome. I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't want to hype you guys up since I don't know when that's going to roll out, but I still want to let you guys know, like, every bit of support that you give us goes right back into the podcast. So thank you so very much for that. Ashes and Ear. Oh yeah,
Hey.
subs.
Thank you.
Oh, wow.
3 years.
36 months, Vertec. 36 months. That's
Wow.
crazy.
Thank you much. 3 years worth of subs. That's crazy.
That's awesome.
Love
Thank you
there,
so much
Roy.
for that. Speaking of subs, just as a side tangent, tomorrow we're doing another session of our Fablecraft, which is specifically for subscribers. Not meaning like it's streamed to subscribers, but like it's subscribers only that are in that game. So once we get done with this campaign, I'll open it up to new subscribers who might want to come play the next type of campaign with us, and we'll have another set of campaigns. It's been very fun. Well, we do it kind of like twice a month at the moment, so that'll be tomorrow. So, my biggest update that I want to talk about, and we've hinted about it a little bit so far, is the adjustments to the vendors and how the vendors aren't selling stuff. We talked about it a little bit with the resources that you get. I forgot their like tokens that you get that you can turn in for gear. But the intent now is that you are going to the crafters, the artisan system peoples for your gear early on. And the level 5 to level 10 items will be significantly reduced. This was put in since the questing system wasn't as fleshed out that the items were dropping. Zetric, wow, 1 year.
Zetric,
Thank you.
hey.
Cheers.
Nice.
Cheers
Haven't
to
seen
you.
you around in a while. Energy
Nice to see
elixir. I gotta take drinks of the energy elixir for that. We did also mention, increasing the quantity of ingredients. That's what we were talking about with the 3-3-3 to 1 versus 3-2-1 to 1. But additionally, they adjusted the amount of glint from enemies that were dropping. So they reduced the drops there. They reduced the gear dropping and items. How does that make you feel? Because I feel like this is something that the community has talked about a lot with like your, oh no, not that name. You're going to make Vertex sad. But a lot of the community, at least in the artisan crafting community, have felt like your novice level means like nothing, and the goal of novice is to get out of novice as quickly as possible, so that you can be worth something to the greater community. How does that adjustment to these, these inventory pieces from these NPCs or the gear not dropping as much? How does that feel for you?
I love it. I want more of it. I want less things to drop, especially of any kind of actual quality. I want the crafters to be able to do what they do and have that be significant. Like, if you want to be running around with gear, you need to be supporting the crafters, which also supports, keeps the flower pickers from getting picked on.
Yeah.
This is better for the economy of the game. Like, it's, oh man,
I
it just
agree.
makes it great. Go ahead.
I was also talking to Nair, because Nair's like, the thing I miss immediately is the food vendors, and I'm typing out that Vertec was really big sad that nobody wanted his food except for really cheap.
Oh yeah, it was ridiculous.
So not only does that help the flower pickers, as you put it, but also the people that put time and effort into like fishing and food and stuff.
Well, a lot of that
Like,
also
that
has to
needs to
do
actually matter.
with
Right.
what people choose to sell it for as well, because there was people putting it on the marketplace, right? And these were meals that you couldn't buy at a vendor, so they were legitimately just making them to boost their level and just unloading them for the most minimal of profit. And by the most minimal of profit, I mean, if you were to devote your every day, all day to it, you might have been able to make like 5 gold in a week. With all the processing it would take, it might get you 5 gold a week at the profit that they were putting it up for. I think it was like 50 copper or something like that per meal, which is crazy.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time and energy to devote for such minimal gain. Like you literally make more money by going out and killing things under your level.
You can make more money killing rocks.
Yeah.
Literally.
And
Just
it also
selling-
says it costs more to make food than to just buy it.
When it was
Right.
on the vendors, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like now that it's gone, I mean, I do like that they got rid of a lot of the stuff off of there. I still think it would have been nifty to have like underpowered versions that you could buy from a vendor, like things that was just like it would get you by. Like for instance,
they have basic food, recover your health.
Yeah.
I mean, even something like a strength buff food that'll get you like a 1% increase, but then the weakest that you could possibly craft as an artisan would be like a 5% or something. Like it's super downgraded, but it's at least something to get you an edge that you could burn money on at the vendor if you were like just starting out. Super cheap, just some little something. Just to say, like, yeah, the world is alive and the merchants are selling something out there. It's not great.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them, but I'm really hoping that I do not see any like enchantment scrolls happening without someone making them.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah.
I went
Like,
out
it
to the
should not
laboratory
be bought
already,
from-
and there weren't any.
Okay, good.
Well, either that or the maps, because you could always get them from maps too.
Well, also, yeah, the experience boost ones were not at the laboratory either.
Also, those experience boost ones were so tiny of an experience boost. I
They
was
were.
like, what is this?
I mean, 1%, it's something.
It's something. But yeah, so like one of the biggest issues that came about is exactly what Mr. Noobtastic said, which is as long as I have a legit way to get common tier 1 gear other than crafting, since getting crafted, leveled, and then even starting takes way too long for a lobby to wait on. I'm all for it. And it's just one of those things like, yeah, like I wonder how we could fix that with the novice. Obviously, we're not the game devs. It's not our job to fix it. But it's one of those, like, if making novice gear is needed to then level, what should people be doing in novice that is more meaningful to get to apprentice rather than making gear? And, my next question is it worth having a novice make gear if it's just for level 0? And it's not actually doing anything, because again, I'm already almost level 10 and I've just gone out to the desert or the tropics and murdered some mobs for multiple hours straight. And I mean, sure, if I had just done the quest out in the Riverlands, I would have had gear already, but it's just one of those things where it's like, by doing the quest, I get gear. So I don't need the gear from the novice people because I don't think that gear is going to be better than what I'm getting from the quest necessarily.
So there was a system that Steven talked about in podcasts of old, where they would use the old gear as a base for the new gear.
Okay.
That would be a way to make it work.
That would be nice. Yeah.
Like constantly improving it from, basic tier 0 all the way up through top.
Mhm. And then if you did that, you could have better stats than what you get at normally when you're just making a random thing, right?
Yeah, because I feel like that would actually make it worthwhile making that stuff outside of, like, obviously now I have an alt and I want to give that alt gear as quickly as I possibly can. It's like, but how do I benefit the people around me already with that, especially with no money at the beginning of the game and things like that? It's a little bit more difficult, but having a system like that could definitely help solve that problem.
I still think for the actual crafting artisan skills, I still think it would have been a nifty idea to still have, common level items drop, literally just common items dropping from enemies, and being able to dismantle items that drop that can get you like a third of a level through your crafting artisan skill by dismantling alone. And then you have materials, more materials that maybe you can't just directly go out and gather or directly go out and process. Maybe some of the things that you used to have to buy from a vendor, and you can get from dismantling the common stuff.
Yeah. I would like to see that, where like whatever, like if I'm trying to be a tailor, if I dismantle a lot of the cloth items, the cloth armor, I could get a lot more of the tailoring XP out of it. I'd like to see something like that.
You'd spend like the first third of your level just dismantling and learning how to make that gear in a way, like in an RP angle, you'd be learning how to make it. RP, and then you gather all the little mini materials that you would normally have to buy from a vendor, and then you use those materials to level up the other 2/3 of your artisan skill to the next tier.
Yeah.
Or to be able to learn those schematics, like how to make them. That's what you'd have to do. You have to destroy it too.
That's something that we've talked about on this podcast a couple of times, is I would love to see, like, if I could grab something that, let's say it's the cloak from like what that typically drops in the civilian, Remnants of Civilian area, and I were able to dismantle that. If I could grab the recipe off of that, or the academic set, or whatever other set that is kind of hard to find, if I could find the gear that's already dropping, dismantle that, I have a chance of getting the recipe out of it too.
Right.
That'd be awesome. I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
And Ludaloo says Blade and Soul system. I personally didn't like it. Vertec, the problem then becomes, do I just wait till I can loot common level 10 stuff, or do I get something good pre-level 10? And then you repeat this for every gear step. We already saw what happens when gear scaling is bad, and AOC's PvE is not hard enough to prevent people from just going for a common every 120 levels or every 10 levels.
Yeah, but see, then you also would end up getting into a situation where, let's say there's a bard or a cleric or anything really, a mage. Let's say a mage that's an armor crafter, and a piece of heavy armor drops. Now the tank is going to need on it, and the fighter is going to need on it, potentially a bard. Who knows? Might. And then there's going to be the mage that's going to need on it, and everyone's going to look at the mage and go, why are you needing heavy? You stay out of physical contact, right? You stay far. Yeah, but I'm an armor crafter. So the drops are going to go to more people because of a dismantling system that would actually gain experience for the craft. Yeah. So more of those would be needed and then dismantled, thus removing it from the market altogether.
And then at that point, that's up to your group to be like, well, if people actually need this gear, you should let them have it first, and then you can need on it if people don't need the gear. Like, that's where like your inner group kind of diplomacy comes
politics
in.
Of
inner
the
group politics.
And that's, and that's fair, Ludaloo. That is, but at the same time, like the way it's currently set up, if no gear drops, it's fine. You get some stuff from questing and whatever, and then you just move on. Until you get to like level 20 to 30 or 30 to 40 or 40 to 50, when you start to slow down a lot, and then you're going to be buying gear. Until then, there's no need to buy gear anyway. Yeah. I don't think I bought any gear outside of and it wasn't like there was a high drop chance for gear anyway, like all the way up to 25. I think I bought maybe 3 pieces of gear from the vendor, and that's because I didn't have anything in a slot at level 20.
Yeah. Which, by the way, Ludaloo said that he's gotten 5 items dropped in the last 40 minutes when it's supposed to be lowered. And I think Pocket said he had even more than that. Yeah.
That's bananas, because I got 0 drops of items, and I got it to level 6, I think. I mean, granted, it took me like a couple hours.
But I got 2 drops. 2 drops in a whole day.
We spent...
Hi, church. Welcome in.
We spent time at the church. Hey there, church. What's going on? But yeah, we spent... it must have been an hour and a half at the church just trying to complete the quest for a couple people, and didn't get a single item drop for anybody. No item drops whatsoever. And that was a group of 6 of us, I think, for like an hour and a half. Nothing.
To be fair...
Go ahead.
In the desert, we were fighting the crabs, and I only got glint, but it was essentially like going to the South Sicilian and fighting grums, where they just really drop glint primarily. But of course, to pet those ones, you have to be apprentice for the crabs, so we couldn't even pet them to get them out of the way.
20 minutes outside of Samia's Hope, I got magic daggers.
Wow.
No way! That's awesome.
That's
I
bananas.
was trying
Maybe,
to find some magic daggers.
I think I'm just the most unlucky person in all of Verra, I think.
Well,
Maybe
I mean-
Verra has just decided now it's your turn for not having luck, when after being with you for like 2 separate restarts and I was in your group for like hours getting no drops and you got all the heavy stuff from Seth, they're like, you know what?
Well, that's
Vertec
also
needs
because
to
it was
be gear starved.
And until the later end of this last phase, there was nothing besides heavy gear dropping there.
Yeah. No, I'm just teasing.
I mean,
I got
wait,
rare daggers, rare boots, uncommon pants, and a helmet. Wow.
Holy
Jeez.
cow.
I got common. I don't know. But
I would actually report that, Lulu. From what I've heard, it's supposed to not be that at all.
Yeah.
you shouldn't be really getting anything above an uncommon. Rare, maybe?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Crazy.
Super side tangent, but I wanted to share, this is the May art piece that Intrepid put out, and this is the Kraken. This is art of the Kraken, and I don't know why, but for some reason I'm super obsessed with the Kraken. Kraken rum, Kraken in games, etc. But we learned a lot of really cool lore pieces about like the Sladeborn and the Najash. So speaking of, I know it's like a super random side tangent, but the Kraken is Odobo.
Adobe.
Odobua.
Odobua.
Odobua. Nicknamed by Twitch chat Adobe, which he is the Titan Kraken world boss in the seas, and I thought that was really, really cool. A boba. Rename a boba. But I thought it was really interesting because some of the lore, in case you guys didn't catch it, obviously we have the Kraken's belly, which is where the pirate area is for that one pocket dungeon. But the other one with the Najash, they came out into the jungle area to make an alliance with the Birdmen, aka the Sladeborn, who are in the cahoots with the Kraken.
Yeah.
Oh.
So really curious to see what's going on with that, but I really love their art pieces, and I wanted to share that. Some people like have enjoyed it when I shared it in our Discord, so I just wanted to make sure I shared it here as well in case anybody missed that. Birds and snakes in cahoots, this is not right.
That's fair.
But
although very tribal, right? Both of them.
Yeah, I think so. And also, like, to be fair, the Jundark was tried over many years to be taken over by the Aelins and the dwarves and other people, and nobody has managed to take it from them until us. So that's kind of the sentiment of the Jundark area. But there was a couple of questions, because we have the different areas that you can be at the harbors now. And in case anybody doesn't know this, the tropics are not lawless, just the ocean. So you can go to the tropics. It's not a lawless zone anymore. Just the ocean part is, as they promised. And kind of in a side pivot of that, somebody whose name I appreciate, named Ouija Board, asked if there's any chance that the world boss events could trigger a temporary lawless zone or 3 to 4 sides that you can pick from. And Steven said there absolutely is going to be open world events that instigate alignment types of factions, whether that's within a narrative system or a lawless free-for-all territory, and it's to help facilitate player friction. And I'm curious to see how that affects roleplay, actually.
Pretty heavily. And actually,
man.
speaking of affecting roleplay, just to reverse back a little bit in the topics you were bringing up there.
Yeah.
Machine gun chibi.
Machine gun. Wow.
So if you make some interesting, you could make some interesting connections and some statements they made with the lore there. So the Sladeborn and Najash are taking over areas that previously the ancestor races were unable to claim. Now we're coming back, and if we're going to be destroying these dungeons and raids and everything and completely just wiping the floor with them, would that almost be easy to infer that the returning people are far stronger than the ancestors were?
Ooh.
Before leaving?
That's actually a good consideration. I didn't even think about.
Yes, I would say they would be, because before the calamity, like we had the elves sharing out the magic all over the place, and like, you know, the Pyrian kingdom was magic all the time, everywhere, cooking, martial arts, making their crafts, everything. So that would be very plentiful throughout the world.
Magic all the time, magic all the time, magic all
Yeah.
the time.
So like having to survive and come up with ways to not have to rely on magic at all would definitely make us a stronger people when we come back to an area that has it. It just enhances us.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, like they did say life on Sanctus was way more
Rough.
Yeah, that's a nice way of putting it. Way more rough than life on Verra was. And so you're coming from Sanctus, where you're used to warring with other people without magic. Now imagine being like going up to our armies and being like, "Hi, you've been fighting for a real long time. Here's magic."
Yeah, what if that ends up being part of the lore that's presented is you know, the seven, when they got these portals built up for us to get off the world, that was maybe part of their plan. It's to send us to a semi-sheltered location that was going to be a rougher life to strengthen us for the return.
Ooh.
And the gateway's coming back online was a planned event too.
Now you're cooking.
Yeah.
Now you're cooking. Maybe that was the gods' greater plan. We're sheltering them, but we're really making them stronger so they can take down the others when they come back, perhaps.
It's like putting the lid on a pot to bring it to boil faster.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Actually, speaking of gods and the others, Dezzrevas, who exactly is Shol?
Oh, well, Shol is the elven deity of truth. Truth. That's why we also have the intrepid special power of Shol's eye, seeing everything
Ooh.
for what it is. So.
Ooh, that's some really good lore right there. I love it. Here now, sparkles will come from your hands and heals people. Yes, exactly.
Yes. The sparkles, all the sparkles.
All the sparkles. It just takes me back to that. I think this was like totally like one of those like the Onion pieces where it's a joke, but it was like where the guy was like, "We found a dead body and apparently we corrupted the crime scene because glitter doesn't res people," and the clerk tried to res him. Like that just pops up in my head with the glitter. Now you can heal people. That's
the
just
the LARPers found a dead body in the bushes.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Pyrian Kingdom's most feared tool of war was the glitter wall.
Wow, Narer. Wow. I can't believe you would say such blasphemous
Our best
proclamities. Truth and elves sounds like an oxymoron. Wow.
Oh.
I'm
sounds like fighting words.
Sounds like,
I'm saddened.
Sounds like heresy. Heresy.
If pirate are the best elves they are. If glitter is power, does this... I can't finish that. You can read it for yourself on screen. Cheers. So, going back to the roleplay community.
You might be onto something there, Noobtastic. Just saying.
Oh my gosh. Going back to the roleplay community.
Get mocked involved there.
Maggie didn't say who asked this, so I apologize. I can't give any like shout outs to these people, but somebody asked, will there be more building interiors to explore in the town and out in the world to give the roleplay community more to go off of? And when will we see level 4 vassal ships and nodes coming out? And they don't know. Like the internal testing for the vassal ships and level 4 nodes are in internal testing. They're pretty much ready, from what I understand, but they're not ready. They're not sure when they're coming to us exactly. But as far as the interior spaces, he says, as we continue to develop nodes, we will dial up interior spaces. I just can't wait to figure out when we can make our tavern and then decorate the interior of the tavern. You know, you're gonna get tavern decorating streams with Chibi. You know you're gonna get that.
Yes,
Even if I had to go to Vertex character upstairs and be like, all right, I'm streaming from Vertex computer because Vertex bought the Freehold, so let me be artsy in here, make it all pretty for him while he's gone. That's what we'll do.
I want to see if they're gonna bring back those interiors from the mayoral houses and stuff.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know if you saw back in the day, there was an apartment for the mayor in the Empyrean style node.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the Empyrean. Yeah, I think I remember seeing that. I'd love to see more though. I want to see what the Pyre stuff looks like too. And Mr. Noobtastic, no. I will be going to Node Wars over supporting other taverns, specifically if that other tavern happens to be the Sleepy Owl. Just saying.
Fair.
Uh-oh, shots fired.
No, not shots fired. I'm saying I would ally with the Sleepy Owl to support them.
Yeah.
That is a good cause to be on board for. Yes.
A worthy goal.
But
the Sleepy Feather Alliance.
The Sleepy Feather. The Golden Owl.
The Golden Owl.
Oh, the Sleepy Feather sounds like one of those that people would be really curious to visit. Like, how did they even get this name? Why would they get this name?
No, you guys make it into a casino. It's the Golden Owl Casino.
There you go.
It's a collaboration event.
The Golden Owl is like the storefront that has all of the parlor games in it, and the Sleepy the Sleepy Feather is where all the beds are. So you get all the nice XP, rested XP bonuses.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying.
Little owl on the countertop at the front, almost like the little cat with the paw, but the little owl there with the little flappy wings.
That sounds amazing.
Lord Fortune, if you're listening, I mean, I'm just saying, collabs can happen, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness.
But there's a lot that was covered, and I think one thing that we all noticed, the biggest changes with 2.5 is the lack of EU servers, which Steven and Maggie, and we kind of covered this a little bit previously, mentioned like they are intending for Shol to be EU East, or NA East, sorry, for EU players to only have about 120, 140 ping, which shouldn't be too bad for them. But that they will be getting at least one server back in phase 3. And for a lot of you, Phazin asked, when is Guild Storage coming? And they said in the next couple of releases, next 3 to 4 releases-ish. No exact date, but
Jocelyn
before phase 3.
She can confirm that it is on the schedule.
Yeah, thank you, Jocelyn, for that.
Yes. I love that answer, though.
Yeah, man, it's on the schedule.
Wait for that.
Stuffed in mystery.
What race feels most like some tribal Indians that need a casino on the... I mean, the Pyre are based after one of the
Navajo.
The Navajo, yeah. I guess that would be your closest, but I could totally see like maybe an orc race having it. Like maybe the Vec. Yeah,
the Vec
having a casino.
Yeah. Bring it on. We're reading the stars and taking your donations, aka quarters in the slot machine. Yeah. And yeah, Mr. Noobtastic could be end of this month, could be beginning of June. We'll see. I mean, the EU versus US feud is fun though.
Life as an EU player.
Oh no.
Yeah, Zetrix, we've been covering some of the saddened days that EU players have had with like not only community events but other things, and I felt bad. Never trusted Vec. They're despicable. Ooh,
Oh my
wow.
gosh. Oh my gosh.
Those are shots fired right there.
Shot fired.
I'm sorry.
Vertex,
I'm
what
gonna
does the
keep my
stars
eye
say?
on when you get the when we get the tavern opened up. Just saying. Just saying.
The goal for somebody whose name is Wild Stars Reach. The goal.
Gonna make me
If it
cry.
had to be an orc race, I think the Vec would make sense. Yeah. Jamie spicy.
Yeah, Jamie is spicy. Man, that's one of my people right there. I don't know.
yeah. But yeah, I think outside of that though, we don't really have anything too big. They did mention possibly going through and adding a new system to the artisan, or not the artisan, the base archetypes, but that the full refresh of them won't be until after Summoner. Because somebody was asking, you know, when are you going to go back to some of the old classes that were already released and kind of give them a nice little sprinkle of pixie dust from Bucky. And they're saying that they're apparently going to have some sort of rank system in there.
Yeah,
and
for
that cleric
active
is getting
skills.
the first pass. So
I'm happy about that.
I'm really curious what that's going to look like. But also Vertec, while we were watching it, was like, this doesn't make any sense. Why not just fix the class at the base first and then add stuff to it?
And then start working on bonuses. Yeah, exactly. Like get all the classes up to, or all the archetypes rather, up to, you know, the same expectation, same baseline, and then work on bonuses for them all.
Yeah. Rogue are the most broken and I don't play them. Fair. Elf in Dez's guild. Look, I'm an elf too. You don't see me being mean to poor Vex.
I mean,
In
I'm
fact,
just saying.
I'm
I'm just
married
saying.
to
I
a
got Vex got pointy ears too.
Mhm.
I mean, that makes us what, like Tolnarian cousins or something?
Oh wow.
Boy. Wait a second. Wait.
Wait a minute.
Narian, no. Bad.
I mean,
Vertex.
I'm just saying because they're created from so many different species, right? So if you have really similar features, that means you're somewhat closely related in the
No, we
genealogy,
all
right?
know the real lore about the Tolnar, the glass horse and the Catwoman. You know, we all saw it happen in the Tower of Carfin. You know, we saw it.
Oh my gosh. So you talked about fast about breaking the skill trees into active and passives with ranks and for the actives. That's fair in Mr. Tastic, but I'm curious how that feels. Like, I'm curious what that looks like and how that feels. Life is a dev. Let's add this, but not fix the existing one. And then at a later point when we have time, fix it then. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I've done that with web development. I was like, I'll go back and do that later. That's too much of an issue to fix.
Yeah.
And then you realize halfway through adding the new thing, all right, let's just go fix the other thing because that'll help this thing. Yay, dev life. Speaking of the rogue, though, there is still currently a rogue dev discussion out. This is on Twitter. I don't know if you can access Twitter if you don't even have a Twitter, so let me just get you the actual link here. There you go. So there's the dev discussion for Rogue about, like, they just want all of your feedback, all of it, everything. Do you like it? Do you not like it? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it, etc. Especially since we've gotten some time to be a rogue at this point. But that is kind of it. Those are all the really big pieces of the update. Is there anything that you guys that kind of stood out to you guys that you think we didn't cover?
I don't know. On top of the topic of the rogue, it may be a hot take, but I still think that the stealth needs some work. Like, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to stealth in front of somebody if you're a true stealth. You know?
Yeah.
It's kind of like hiding in plain sight kind of an ability.
I think that would be the case if it was a rogue mage. Because at that point, if you're literally facing somebody, like directly in front of them, You if you literally disappear, that would be a magic skill, not really a martial skill, right? If you can literally disappear while somebody's looking you in the eyes and you just vanish.
Look, here's how you solve this, Des. You just take your grappling hook, right? You throw it really hard and really fast, and as you're grappling through the air, then you stealth and you just disappear in plain sight.
Yeah, smoke bomb and grappling hook. That's your vanish. Do it Batman style. Batman style.
Honestly, if they did the smoke bomb and it made it so you can't see anybody within that smoke bomb, that'd be a great place to be able to add in a stealth. Smoke bomb into stealthing.
That's perfect.
That would be perfect.
And it's almost like it's made for that.
Yeah, you know. Crazy. Just
Like
hit me with that and then suddenly stealth.
Yeah, I think it could be done within a certain distance with certain conditionals in place, but to just be able to stare at somebody in the eyes and be like, bye, and disappear, I think it goes kind of away from the martial and physical skill that they're kind of building the rogue around. Makes it more of a magic thing.
Okay, yeah, I could see that.
Maybe if you could modify stealth with blink, maybe, and then that'll make it an instant poof, and no matter where you are.
Is there an archetype that's called a shadow dancer?
Sounds
I feel like
familiar.
that is Rogue X something.
Let me
64 classes, Ashes of Creation.
Wow.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Because
Rogue Bard. I thought it was Rogue Bard.
In D&D, there was a prestige class in 3.5 called the Shadow Dancer, and it had an ability that was hide in plain sight. Go.
So the Rogue Tank is the Shadow Guardian. The Rogue Summoner is the Shadow Lord. The Bard Rogue is a
Shadow Mancer.
Mm-hmm.
But doesn't look like a Shadow Dancer.
Yeah, we have Shadow Disciple, Shadow Blade, Shadow Caster, Shadow Mancer, Shadow Lord, and Shadow Guardian. Those are the only shadows we have.
So a night spell would be a rogue mage. That's what I'm voting would have the capability to augment their stealth with a blink, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, okay. We could say that, or the assassin. I don't know, the assassin.
A rogue bard would be a charlatan.
Rogue?
Double rogue as the assassin, yeah. John Cena on them.
Yes.
John Cena.
Actually, fun fact. So there is somebody whose name is Danny Phantom. It is not the same Danny Phantom from so many years ago. I found this out firsthand. I randomly sent them a heal because I saw that their HP was low. And I was like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in years. And he's like, yeah, I'm not the same Danny Phantom you're thinking I am. So yeah, new person, just picked the name because they really like Rogue. So yeah, fair point though. Fair point. Well, I don't have anything else that I want to pick out, but I did want to make sure that you guys saw the awesome Kraken art because the monthly update was really nice with that.
That's good stuff.
Yeah,
It was.
but
man, yeah, I mean, in summary, there's a lot of stuff coming. There's a lot of cool stuff. They're showing off some of it as they can get to it, and I can't wait to see more.
yes,
Expand.
Same.
Enhance.
Actually,
Expand, enhance.
Vertex secretly hopes that they will make it so that when they release the anvils, it will release like that whole top area that we're missing, and just kind of complete the whole entire region of.
Oh yeah, we need the Badlands. We need the Badlands.
So it looks like there's two different areas up there: the anvils, and then whatever that is to the eastest.
Yeah, northeast is the Badlands.
So getting both of those dropped in at the same time would be nifty, because otherwise you're going to be going to another starting area and you have to go through the tropics to get anywhere. It's like a one-directional expansion, which wouldn't be terrible. It'd still be a different thing to experience, but
Yeah.
it'd be cool. Just saying, it'd be cool if they both came in at once. That's it. Just a little wish list thing.
But
And of course, we have the other two starting areas in the other continent completely. So
yeah, I think there are 3 nodes and we have 4 months. Yeah, I thought there was three zones up there too. Pockets.
Let's see.
Because
Badlands is the one on the top east.
Well, so what I'm seeing is like there's the Dunes and Kill Mountains, which are like right above the tropics. But then there's like this forested area between that, and then there's the area that's up above Carfin, which is like the dry, not quite the Sand Squall Desert, but like a drier area, kind of like that. So there's like.
Oh yeah, I don't know the name of the forest. I don't remember what.
Here's the
name
map,
is.
but there's no name for that part of the area. It's just, it looks like it'd be two separate zones to me. Because there's one that's like a bit forested, not as densely forested as the Jundark necessarily, but still pretty forested. And then a more drier area, kind of like the Badlands. So that's the 3 zones that I'm seeing. It's Anvils, Jungle, and Badland. Okay, so that, yeah. That's what I was thinking. That is, it's 3 areas that still need to be fleshed out up there.
Redwood Forest.
Okay.
Badlands and the Redwood Forest. That's from the original map.
Okay, gotcha. So yeah, we have the Dunes and Kill Mountains that need to be built out still, the Redwood Forest, and the Badlands. So.
About the original one that had all the like the metadata that everyone just immediately threw out everywhere.
Chibi's got it now.
Ooh. Oh yeah. Okay. Oh wow. Yeah. I forgot about this map. Jeez.
It's been a while since anyone's really gone into any detail on that one.
Yeah. Look at this one, Vertec. I'm sending it to you right now.
Of course, I got a file on just ready to go, right?
Right.
Heckin' yeah.
But yeah, technically, it's called Tabletop Mountains. But like now. If that's the case, then there's still the entire like volcanic area that we need to have from that old map. I've been looking for this map. I couldn't find it anywhere.
Okay, so that whole area isn't just one biome. In like the northeast, that's not just one biome. That's actually 2 separate ones. Gotcha. I see.
Here you go, Pockets. They renamed it to the Anvils. Yeah.
And wouldn't the Jundark be, and I haven't jumped in, apologies people, I haven't jumped in since Jundark's been online, wouldn't Jundark be the jungle area and then the volcanic would be the last area that's to be, the last little biome that'd be revealed down there?
I'm thinking so. I haven't actually, I kind of want to go back and open the map and see what's there.
So yeah, the Anvils or Tabletop Mountains.
Well, like they changed the volcanic area to be on the other continent.
Oh, okay.
So let's think about this. Okay, another piece of lore. We've got,
gotcha.
So there was an old commercial or like stream like cinematic that they made with Intrepid, and they have these caravans going through this mountain pass kind of a thing, and then at the end of it, you see a big node in the castle.
Ooh.
That one is the castle node that we're waiting for, Castle Kelimir.
Ah, okay. That's where the relic spawned at. Castle Kelimir. That's pretty cool.
Okay, I see.
But I'm gonna go ahead and do this again. By the way, just because Pockets is being in chat here, just again reminder, if you like TTRPGs, tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern time, or 2 p.m. Eastern time. Wow, we end at 5 p.m. So 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern time. I will be doing session 2 of our Murder on the Tipsy Pearl campaign, which is inspired by Ashes of Creation doing their naval release. And it's Tales of Fablecraft is its own standalone TTRPG, and it is very easy to play. They have their own system, and you can play on your phone or on your tablet. You guys, if you could always check it out, we have our own code for that. It is TGFTavern if you want to support us when you go to check stuff out. But it's a lot like D&D, where only the DM needs to buy anything, unless you want fancy dice and like outlines on your characters for your tokens. But yes. We're starting phase or session 2 with, unfortunately, Chaffee is not going to be able to make it tomorrow. So he's probably going to be resting, because poor Chaffee He and High Priestess Moon, their characters had a little bit of a KO at the end of last session, but the rest of the team made it relatively out unscathed.
So they'll be sleeping it off a little bit.
Yeah, he's a little exhausted after, nearly dying. But yeah, that'll be tomorrow's content. And then Monday, just to give a quick look ahead, Monday we have our community night with primarily the guild, where we're going to be making fresh characters on Shol, and we're going to be running around as a group and just having some fun and chatting Ashes and experiencing it together. And then Tuesday is our community hangout with all of you guys, where we're going to be doing roles. I'm going to be pulling up my board that I don't have with all of the people that have subscribed and gifted either bits or like donations, etc. And we're gonna celebrate all of you guys for supporting us and having a good old time with that. So that's what's on deck this week. So, looking forward to
fun times.
But in the meantime, here's another shout out for Dez. The first link is the Revis Order Guild Discord, and the second one, if you like roleplay like I do, is the Ashes of Creation Roleplay Discord. And if you are looking for a community to roleplay in, I highly suggest going there. And thank you. Cheers to Wildstar for gifting a sub to Sir Unsington. Shol is jam-packed, should be a lot of fun. I agree. It's really nice to actually be on with a lot of our friends, finally, because all of our friends were on Verra while we were on Lineth. So it's kind of nice to have friends in, but still interested in seeing how this goes. But, yeah.
It is nice to have you guys finally on the same server.
Yes.
It's going to be some chaos for sure.
Chaos.
Should be like meet battle clerics together.
Yes. I will
like
still be in the
PTR.
background. Yes.
I mean, yeah, you gotta.
This is gonna be rough. Chaos ensues. Yes. Do you have any things that you want to leave the people with as we head out?
Well, as always, the Revis Order is recruiting. We're definitely going to be planning on getting some good events going on out there, but we're currently leveling so that we can protect ourselves when we do those events.
Yeah.
Also, the art community, like I do recommend, definitely, if you are even RP adjacent, go check it out. See the people that are in there. You might find some people you want to hang with, you want to go battles with, or even make some stories. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I definitely want to get back into role playing again. I've missed it. Unfortunately, I'm so sad to hear that the House Rain community has collapsed, but they're still hanging out and they're good peoples. So I hope to see them around. But
they are good peoples.
Yeah. I
miss seeing them around out with their tags,
Yeah, I ran into Dez yesterday. I said hi, I got shy, ran away. It's okay. I saw Taffy on Shol, and I healed him, and I jumped in front of him, and I waved at him. I think he was AFK, so then I left. But I am picking out somebody here and waiting to see what Vertec. Okay. Vertec is thinking. I've not seen Dez yet on Shol. Well, don't worry. I'm sure I'll have plenty of time to see Dez. And who knows? Maybe I don't know if I want to promise it for 2.5, but if for phase 3 we get the TGFTavern actually in the game, I would love to do like an in-game stream from in there with that as our little background instead of
yeah, absolutely. Do some tavern
that'd be
stuff.
Fun. But I want to raid over to Falco Gaming because I knew that he made YouTube content, but I did not know that he also streamed. So want to go give him some support. He's pretty awesome. He actually has his own podcast with Yami, and they have been chit-chatting a lot about Ashes creation over the years as well. He's a nice person, and he supported us on several occasions. So now that he's live, when we're live, I would like to give him a thank you raid. So
yeah,
gotta share the love.
Absolutely.
And I just wanted to say again, thank you so much to Lulu for rating us earlier.
Yes.
Vertec, over to you.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Des, for joining us, lending us your time and your words and your entertainment, as well as, being entertaining to everyone else. Brought us a bunch of smiles as always.
Yeah.
Everybody, thank you for your time hanging out with us. You could do anything with your time. You could be out there making your own little podcast. You could be adventuring in Ashes, trying to be a little lone solo leveler, getting 700 drops like Lulu over there somehow, because I'm nowhere near as lucky. But either way, you spent your time here, and you don't get refunds on time. You spend it, it's gone. You'll never see it again. So we hope it was worth the cost, and we hope to see you again. But till then, everybody, take care.
Take care. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.